Atlanta Bible College is and was established by the Church of God years and years ago. And in fact, somebody was talking to me last night that the Church of God, way back about 100 years ago, was kind of like Converge today, where people came from a lot of different backgrounds, agreeing on a couple things, and they said, hey, can we all get along? And so they started, and in 1939, all these churches said, where would we possibly train pastors that are not orthodox in their understanding? And so in 1939, in northern Illinois, they started what was called at the time Bible Training Institute, which was not necessarily a seminary in its character to be hoity-toity, academic, not based in reality, but it was a training ground for ministry. People to be trained in the Scriptures from a one-God perspective and to serve churches. And then in 1991, it moved to Atlanta, and this is the building where we are now in Atlanta. And we don't have the whole building. We own the building, but we're on the 4th floor where our offices are, and we instruct, and then we rent out the other floors. So anyway, what I want to just share a little bit with you about the Bible College. One of our instructors is fond of saying it's the only biblical Unitarian college on the planet. Now, that's a big claim, and I'm not sure that's true. So I want to ask you guys, if you are aware of another college that teaches Scripture from our perspective, please let me know, because I've been all over Google and checking Christadelphian sites and other sites, and I haven't found anything yet, but that's not to say it's not out there. But I do know that we're pretty unique to the market. Atlanta Bible College offers a systemized training of the Scriptures from a one-God perspective. And you may have the thought, well, can't I just get on YouTube and Restitutio and Trinities and 21st Century and get my own Bible training? Yes, you absolutely can. There's excellent teaching out there. But what the Bible College offers is a systematic training through the Scriptures to give a good foundation of what God is trying to communicate and training people for ministry, to go back to your home fellowships, to go back to your churches, and add value to what God is doing at the local level. The courses that we teach fall into 3 main categories: Bible and theology classes, that would be like New Testament, Old Testament surveys, and then there are ministry courses, like what does leadership look like in a church, how do you properly do counseling, how do you do weddings and funerals, because those seem to happen in life, and then there's general education. And what we're finding with the advent of online education is a lot of students who come to us have already, even in high school, gotten most of their general education out of the way, and they can really focus on Bible and ministry courses here. The biblical education for truth seekers, steadfast believers, and future leaders. And as students come to us, we are really attempting to help you grow your faith, connect with others, and equip yourself. That not just be smart about the Bible, but we're trying to help students develop a spiritual foundation, really a passion for pursuing truth in the Scriptures, for connecting with other believers, building healthy relationships, and being equipped for ministry so they can go back and add value to the local congregation, the local group, the local fellowship, the local church. Because many of you have had experiences in churches that are not healthy. They may believe the right things, but boy, you just get beaten up emotionally, or there's just poor leadership. And as much as we can do to add health to the people of God, that's going to do great things to help advance the gospel. Now, real quickly, these are a couple things we offer. First of all, for students that aren't looking to be pastors, they can come down. Let's say that you have a student in your fellowship or your church or your group that wants to be an engineer, they want to be a nurse, they want to do something else. They can come for just a single year and get a foundation certificate. And that would be some required courses in Old Testament, New Testament surveys, some study of the Pauline epistles, and just really get a good solid foundation. Then they go home, they go on to the University of New York, University of Tennessee, Bowling Green, wherever they're going to go, and then they pursue other degrees. But a student that wants to stay for 2 years, we offer an associate's in theology and ministry. And this is a 2-year degree really designed to go beyond just the biblical understanding, but also to add some leadership training. But for students who really desire to go into ministry, and as Peter said, are insane, that we have a 4-year degree, bachelor's of theology. And the majority of our 4-year students follow a track in pastoral ministry. And upon graduation, we try to line up a 9-month internship in a local church under the mentorship of an existing pastor. Because there's a huge difference between a classroom and dealing with real people, right? And, and that's not just true in ministry. That's true if you're a math major, a nurse, and then you go in and there's real patients and they're about to die and you got to do something. It's just different. And so giving them some mentoring is really important. But not everybody wants to be a lead pastor. So we also have coursework in youth ministry, and then we have general ministry, and that would be somebody who wants to do a children's ministry or worship ministry. And then we also have a missions focus, because some people just have a calling to go abroad and make a difference in the world. I want to talk about some of our staff. And what's interesting about the Bible College, while it was begun and established as really a Church of God training school, we have really seen the opportunity to serve biblical Unitarians or one God believers, or you pick the label, around the world, because we understand the unique nature of our college's position on the Scriptures. We want to add value to your groups as much as we can. And so Sean out of Living Hope has come down and then gone back to Living Hope and adds value and does great things in leadership there. But he also continues to teach for us. God has positioned us to serve believers across a lot of fences with an understanding of one God. And so we want to extend the invitation if you have any students in your group that would be interested in some training, so that we then can send them back to you. Students on there, it's not just classes, we have weekly chapel. And one of the unique things to the campus experience is building community. And the relationships that we've even talked about, one of the values here of relationships are just so very, very important. And exposure to instruction from a number of different people, and not just growing up in a single church and hearing from a single person. So people that have taught classes for us include like Sean Finnegan, Dr. Joe Martin in the back. Joe, put your hand up. Keegan Chandler has taught for us, and we try to, and I'm missing some people, so I apologize for that, but we try to bring a lot of instructional perspectives to our students, so they're not just getting locked into one way. And one of the things that I appreciate about people that come to the Scriptures from our perspective is if you're willing to do anything, it's to ask questions. And we're not telling students what they have to believe, but we're giving them the tools to walk through the Scriptures, to ask the important questions, and not be locked in by creeds and traditions and what so-and-so said I have to. Look at the Scriptures and see what they say. And then we, in community, even today, I have close relationships with students that I went to school with. And that can't be replicated in any other way. Obviously, these are some of our resident students from last year, and clearly that's a staged photo, right? They don't always sit in the center of town studying Bibles. But, the relationships that these guys are going to have, and this were 7 resident students last fall. We have 13 coming on campus this spring. And we have a sister campus. Steve An, right back in the corner, is Korean, and we have an entire Korean campus where the instruction happens in Korean. And Steve is going to have a booth in the exhibition booth. I'd love for you to see what's happening there. They are preparing. They have about 55 students, and some of them go back to South Korea. And Atlanta is the second largest Korean population outside of Los Angeles. And Los Angeles, as I understand it, is the second largest Korean population in the world outside of Seoul, South Korea. So it's pretty significant. And he is doing the best he can to position us to be the first into North Korea with the gospel message of the kingdom and one God when that wall comes down. So good job, Steve. Real quickly, if you're interested in or have a student that you think would be interested, we certainly have the on-campus experience, which I think is pretty pivotal. But not everybody can do that. So we also have distance learning options. And we have quite a number of students who take coursework because they just want a deeper understanding and a systemized way to look through the Scriptures, make sure that you don't have any gaps and they can take classes from wherever they are. And we really have two options. We have distance learning courses that track with the semester, and you'll take class with classes on campus. And then we have sort of a study on your own option where you can do it at your pace. So I just want to extend the invitation, share what we're about. If you have any questions, you can certainly reach us here. We really want to add value to what God is doing in the world through the One God movement. And if there's any way that we can serve your congregation and what God is doing with you, please let us know, and we'll come alongside and do whatever we can. Thanks so much.